Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Cavell's Cloud Conversations podcast. I'm Patrick Watson, Director of Research at Cavell, and in this episode we're joined by two expert guests from one of the industry's leading communications firms, Zoom. Zoom's growth in terms of not just user base but also portfolio coverage has been pretty remarkable over the last few years, and today we're catching up with them to understand more about their evolving portfolio and what's up next, as well as their partnerships with the communications industry. From Zoom, it's my pleasure to welcome Rich Massey, Director for International Strategic Partnerships and Initiatives. How are you this morning, Rich?
I'm great. Thanks for having us. Awesome to be here.
Thanks for having me with us. And also Rui Ferraz, who is Lead Product Manager for Telco. Rui, how are you this morning?
All good, Patrick. Thank you for having us.
Absolute pleasure to have you both with me. As I said, Zoom's growth has been pretty remarkable over a number of years. And what we held our Cavell Enable event at the back end of last year. And Enable is an event that's focused on enabling PSTN telephony within some of the market's leading collaboration applications and in the future contact center applications as well. And Zoom is obviously one of the market leaders in that space. So I just wanted to understand a little bit more about Zoom's development here. And Rui, maybe I'll come to you on this. Zoom, if we think right back, then this is a long time ago, and as I said, the portfolio's grown so much, a sort of meeting-focused platform. So can you talk about the development around the telephony side from a Zoom perspective?
Yeah. So, Patrick, Zoom was born as a meetings application, right? So, a full stack of meeting capabilities, which at the time had very limited phone capabilities, right? And from that time onwards, we have seen that the development at Zoom has focused on building a complete layer of telephony enablement which could support all of the applications which we build on top of it, right? So for example, we have been saying that even though everyone says that voice is becoming more and more of a commodity, 50% of our interactions in contact center are still supported on voice, right? And this is not appearing to drop anytime soon, right? Customers are using voice to interact with their customers. Customers want to have voice. Even in the era of AI, voice is a commodity which needs to be there to support their end customers, okay? So what we did was leverage this capability which we already had on meetings to expand our architecture, our reliable media architecture, to a global capability also supporting voice, okay? So this global PSTN with flexible voice capacities, supporting also third-party integration like BYOC or PACs, which allow us to expand even further than what our native capabilities can offer, right? All of this added together with our intelligent routing capabilities to support least cost routing and so forth and so on, and our AI first capabilities gives to our customers a full stack of functionalities which, let's say, not a lot of the other partners in the market can offer, okay? So one app for meetings, messaging, calling, and so forth, contact center, which reduce the friction which our customers have on moving from feature to feature, application to application. Of course, we don't stop here, right? We're always looking for more and more innovation, right? So even a couple of months ago, we have released Fax, right? Fax, whom a lot of people listening will say, who the hell uses fax nowadays, right? A lot of businesses are still using fax, right? On the medical area, so forth and so on, orders, all of that is still supported on a lot of fax needs. So we are still looking to expand our capability, our coverage even further. A deeper AI automation is very well needed at this point, right? And a tighter integration of across all of the UCaaS, all of the CCaaS, and all of the features which we have to give that customer that single pane of glass, which puts us at the forefront of the end customer experience.
Yeah, and I think our Cavell research exactly echoes that what you're saying, that the voice is still incredibly important for businesses of all sizes, and especially with communicating with customers. And Rich, Rui mentioned their AI. the one thing about voice is it provides such rich data for AI tools in terms of the amount of alleles of data you get from a voice interaction compared to an asynchronous message. And I just wanted to understand a bit more about Zoom's AI strategy, because you've taken a bit of a different approach with AI Companion compared to some of your competitors in the space. So can you talk a little bit more around the strategy with Zoom and AI Companion, especially around the commercials and the models as well?
Yeah, sure. So I guess let me start with the architecture for AI Companion. So we took a differentiated approach very early on. It's actually been copied by others now. But that was to federate our AI. So to combine Zoom language models with the world's best large language models. And basically what that gave us is flexibility and really good flexibility and security. It also gave us, because we're leveraging the best of each one with our own, it gave us a really top-line accuracy service as well, which has actually been proven on humanity's last exam and all the test results and the various benchmarking that there is globally for AI. And that federated approach gives us massive flexibility. So one of the big things that is important to note is that we don't train our language models on any customer data. We're very, very ethical on the way that we've deployed our AI. And that architecture has given us a lot of flexibility so that large customers, I mean, there's one recently for a finance organization globally that's actually taken our AI and made it live in 150,000 users globally. But the commercial models are really important for this as well, both for the customer and for the partners as well. So I think it's important to note that with any business playing plan, our AI Companion is free of charge for the standard AI. What that gives is for the customer, that's really easy to adopt. For the partners, that's differentiation, maybe in voice services, that they can retain better top line in voice services with the AI service included. But we also enable what we call custom AI Companion as well, where you can really start leveraging deep integrations and workflows and agentic capability and personalize it greatly. And instead of charging based on tokens or something that's quite hard for a customer to understand, we charge that per seat as well. So it's really easy for the customer to adopt, to have predictability, and for the partners to actually leverage and actually have new lines of revenue out of as well. I think the ease of the Zoom application, having sort of 24 different capabilities within one application, means that we have really heightened cross-sell capabilities. So you can start with voice, but customers invariably go with other technologies within the Zoom application because they're already there. The application's already within the customer. And because of that, and because we have native cloud code, and our AI Companion is within all of those different 24 different capabilities within the application, it means that the partners and the customers can extend the services very easily and compound the effects of AI because it has one data layer across all of that, be it CX, UC, whatever it is, it's one data layer. And that means you can leverage it in thousands of different use cases. So I think that's pretty cool. And as I said, that will compound margin capabilities and deepen them for our partners, and hopefully extend lifetime value of customers as well.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think the AI across the Zoom portfolio is a really key point. At Cavell, we've been talking about this concept of the intelligent workplace, where businesses want to be able to utilize intelligence across all areas of their technology stack, not just siloed in any of those particular spaces. And you mentioned the 24 areas there within the Zoom portfolio. If there's probably even more than that since the time we've done that with the expansion. One of the key areas and one of the fastest growth areas that we've been tracking from a Zoom perspective at Cavell is contact center and customer experience. And I know I think Zoom Contact Center was the fastest contact center after creation ever to make it into the Gartner Magic Quadrant. And Rui, we talked about voice up front, but that convergence of sort of unified communications and voice and contact center, is that something that you're getting asked about increasingly from a Zoom customer perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. So just adding one point to what Richard is saying, so that AI layer is sitting on a ton of data on the customer side, right? So just imagine from a customer perspective, let's imagine they have 100 users, each one of them making 5 hours of calls every day. just imagine the amount of data which comes from that, the amount of inputs you can have for your business if that data is segmented with AI Companion, right? And that's part of the goal which Zoom is trying to bring into the productivity suite, right? So it's not that patchwork of features which are completely segregated, like it happens with a lot of the providers in the market, where they try to bring UCaaS and afterwards try to do some sort of integration with CCaaS, sometimes via the PSTN and so forth and so on, right? We try to bring all of this into a single pane of glass, which allows us to have the contact center, the AI, the UCaaS, all drinking from a single layer of data, which can afterwards give those valuable inputs into the user and into the management of that company, for them to afterwards take the right decisions into the business. Okay, so like I said, integration is one way of doing things, like it has been done up until now. Convergence and single pane of glass application building is what Zoom is trying to put in place here, right? Single architecture, not the patchwork, right? So that's the sentence here. And we, from a product management point of view, we are pushed to think in that way, right? Not to think about some sort of an integration just for that specific quarter, but how to streamline the entire infrastructure to have features integrating with features converging with one another and not actually integrating with one another. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's much more about that, and I think it's a really interesting distinction that you draw, that it's not an API integration as we've seen historically. It's a converged architecture, and that brings you a lot of benefits in terms of from a customer perspective.
Correct. That's exactly it.
Yeah, really interesting. And one of the things that Rich, you mentioned before, so primarily Cavell's audience is communication providers, telcos, and you mentioned before about sort of expanding the portfolio. Traditionally, their core areas of service have been around voice and connectivity, but Rui's just talking there about the contact center, and we're looking at, and I know you're looking at enabling these partners into expanding that portfolio coverage. So I think a lot of people will think of Zoom as potentially quite a direct business, but you've had a really well-established partner channel and partner program and hundreds of partners globally. So I just wanted to understand a bit more about how Zoom works with communication service providers and partners, and especially those that might be very voice-centric at the moment. How do you work with them from a Zoom side?
Yeah, it's a great question, Patrick. So there's been, I guess, a massive change within Zoom, not just within portfolio expansion, but in our go-to-market over the last couple of years. And anyone who's worked for a vendor knows it's very easy to say partner first. It's very difficult to actually, act partner first. And what I mean by that is lots of different things. And Zoom's put all of those different things, all those building blocks together in the last year and a half. So examples of those are, we've reallocated resources from BDRs to channel enablement, channel marketing. We've doubled our channel teams. We've adjusted our comp plans to make them sense for a channel first go to market. We've even re-architected our channel infrastructure and all the APIs to enable channel self-service, which is massive within service providers, especially. And having all of those building blocks in place and bringing heavyweights in who really understand channel, like Tony McNeish, Steve Rafferty, Nick Tidd, all of that put together has enabled us to develop what we call Zoom Up 3.0, which is our new partner program. But especially for some of the partners that you mentioned, that in itself isn't enough, to materially change their businesses. And we need to be very thoughtful on our GTM. We don't want to just flood the market with partners. We want to ensure that there's a limited number of partners in different routes to market, so that they ensure good margin and they're not competing all the time with each other. And we differentiate with partner core services like voice and underlying carriage, for service providers and things like that. And the key is, we don't want to be a tertiary player within our partners. When they're investing properly into us and, we have a proper GTM together, we will invest massively into them as well. Well, I think the big part of it is monetization, for the partners. We've enabled so much more monetization capability, both in the program itself with very generous margins and discounts within the programs, rebates and spiffs and things like that. But also, the services. Whereas before we were doing all the services, we've created certifications and things like that for our partners to create their services business where they make a lot of their money along with Zoom. So that's, sort of making money in the license resale in one bucket, the services so that they are making services. And that's not just in traditional managed services and CX or voice. We're actually doing, AI accreditations as well and certifications so that they learn how to make money from AI, where the wallet share is going from customers. And then all of that is compounded with the amount of capabilities that Zoom has within one application means they're not just making money from the licenses and the services, but they are, multiplying that in all the different product areas that Zoom has because of the high amount of adoption of different services. I think if you put all those three things together, the partner first, thoughtful GTM with having the right people, and the monetization capability, that's the reason that it's important for partners, to really review this as part of their go-to-market.
Yeah, it's really fascinating, and we track it from the Cavell side through our Channel Insights platform. We've looked at the number of partners taking Zoom to market, and obviously that's increased exponentially around the globe for a number of those reasons. So, and I think what you're saying about training and education is absolutely key, because it's really easy from an analyst perspective to say to partners, oh, sell other things outside of your portfolio. But if you're a traditional voice partner moving into CX or AI, you do need that education piece, don't you, Rich, in terms of being able to learn about how to sell that?
Yeah, I think it's a really good point, actually, because it's very easy for someone like me to say, hey, you should move into this area, of business. And then, partners are like, well, I've got to train all my people that, they're selling voice. They just about get CX. This might be a step too far. And I think knowledge sharing and the transmission of knowledge into the partner is huge. And we've actually, made huge strides in that. In some of the capabilities that we're releasing for things like virtual, concierge, to make sure that our information is really easy to consume, bite size in lots of different formats for a partner at the point that they need the information as well. Because sellers are, they're trying to train on lots of different capabilities, but having that capability of knowledge sharing in what we're doing and utilizing our own AI technology for the partners GTM makes that a lot easier. Great point.
Yeah, no, it's really fascinating to hear about what you're doing in the space. That's all we've got time for in this episode today. I just wanted to say a massive thanks to Zoom, who are gold sponsors of Cavell Enable, and for both Rich and to Rui for joining us today and sharing those insights and updates on what Zoom does as it continues to innovate and expand in this space. It's really exciting to see what you're doing with the sort of future of communications and through your partners. If you'd like to learn more about Zoom's offerings, you can obviously head to the Zoom website, but also if you're interested in how Zoom works with partners, both from a telco side, a CX side, you can reach out both to Rui and Rich, are very prominent on LinkedIn, and get in touch with them for more details. But for now, that is all we've got time for in this episode, so it's just time to say a massive thanks for listening to this Cavell Cloud Conversations podcast, and we'll speak to you next time.
Thank you for
Cheers, Patrick.